What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be painting this insane looking 4.5-inch jointed lipless crankbait from Barlow's tackle. This bait looks absolutely insane, so I'm hoping the pattern we come up with today does it justice. I did put some rubber bands in the joint to kind of help stiffen it up, and then also we'll protect those joints, or we'll protect the connection point whenever I spray some clear coat on there later. The pattern we're going to be doing today is kind of unknown. I'm just going to start throwing colors at this thing and seeing what we can come up with. I do have a couple more blanks for this bait, so if you guys have an idea or something you want to see on it, let me know in the comments. I do know the base color I'm going to be doing is going to be a peach that I want on the belly, and we'll kind of work our way up in colors from there. But in order for the peach to be vibrant and look pretty, we're going to start off with a base coat of white. So to kick things off, I'll be doing some opaque white, and then we'll be covering the entire bait in it. And I'll probably end up doing 2 different layers just to make sure I got even coverage on everything. With the base coat of white done, we can move on to our next color, which will be that transparent peach. Game plan for the peach is I'm going to spray the entire belly of the bait, and then we'll have it come up the side of the bait and probably have it stop right in here somewhere, because I'm going to bring in another color and we'll fade it right over top of the peach. So belly, not too worried about the gill plate right now. I'm not sure what I'm going to do there, and then have it fade up in this area somewhere. Pretty happy with the fade we got. I do think I want the belly of the bait to be a little bit more saturated, so I'm going to hit that with the hairdryer, and then we can do another pass on it. This is where things will get interesting. Our next color that we're going to be using is going to be a transparent black, because I want the scale pattern we're going to do here in a few to be black lines, and we'll put brighter colors back over top of it. So we're going to take our transparent black, we'll start at the top, or start wherever, but we're going to cover the top. We'll have it kind of fade into our peach color. Still haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do on the gill plate, so I think I'm just going to leave that alone for now. So transparent black will cover the back of the bait, top dorsal fin, and then we'll fade it into our peach. Hey, not too bad looking, folks. I'm going to clean out the airbrush, we'll hair dry the bait, and then move on to our next color. Okay, next step, we're going to be taking a netting to do a scale texture on the bait. I did go for smaller circles rather than doing really big circles like this one. So I want the scales to be pretty fine texture. So I'm going to get this strapped on there. With the scale all strapped on there nicely, we're going to be taking some pearl satin gold, and I'm going to cover everything on the bait, front to back, top to bottom. We'll get a nice layer or 2 of the satin gold. I do have it thinned a little bit, that way it'll run through the airbrush good, so I might have to do 2 layers to build up a nice coating. And make sure you don't go too heavy too fast, otherwise it will, if the paint gets runny, it will run underneath of your scale pattern. So I like to do a thin layer like that and then hit it with the hairdryer and do it again. And another thing I like to do is, I'm done with the gold before setting it down or really moving it a whole lot. I like to hair dry it then as well, just to make sure, you know, if one of the clips slip or something like that, it won't mess up our paint. So I always hair dry it before setting it down. So we're going to be adding a couple more colors before we take our netting off. First color is going to be an iridescent green. Game plan for the green is we're going to be spraying it right at the top of the bait here, right where the top meets the side. We're going to spray it up in that area and kind of let it fade down into our gold. I'm not going very heavy with it. We're going to keep it pretty thin because I just want it to reflect green, but I don't want the scales to be a solid green. I still kind of want that gold showing through. When you're using pearlized colors and iridescent colors, it really gets confusing because everything's so shiny and sparkly. But there I think you can see it's green, but then kind of color shifts to gold depending on where it's getting hit at with the light. So I'm going to call that good there on the green because I don't want to add too much of it and then end up with a really green bait. Next color, we're going to be doing a similar thing, but we're going to be doing it with an iridescent scarlet. And I'm going to be spraying it all along the belly of the bait, right in this area, and then kind of have it fade into the gold back here. I might also throw a dab of it right at the end of the bait. With all of the colors sprayed, we can go ahead and take off our stencil. And now we get to see how this bad boy looks. Dude, looks stunning to me. I don't know about you folks at home. Lots of pretty crazy looking colors going on there. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to throw it back on our helping hands, and then we're going to load our pearl satin gold back up into the airbrush, because I think that's what I'm going to do on the gill plate is the gold, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the whole back of the bait in the gold as well. But that's looking pretty slick. So satin gold back in the airbrush, and then we'll hit the gill plate, make sure there's good coverage there, along with the back of the bait. Okay, now that we have a bait that's mostly gold, I think it's time to dial it back just a little bit. We're going to add some more black into the bait. I think what I'm going to be doing is either some stencil work or some shading up here on the eye, and then I think this bait needs some nice vertical stripes. So what we're going to do is load up some transparent black in the airbrush. I'm going to hold this stencil in place. Actually, I think instead of using the stencil, now that I'm looking at it, I think we'll just freehand some nice stripes on there. So let's get the black loaded up. I'll start up here on the front and see where that gets us, and then we'll see how big of stripes we need to do on the side to help break it up a little bit. I think I'm going to start with darkening the eye, and then I've got a couple different pieces of paper here in different shapes. I think we'll just try to kind of hold these in place and shade a couple different spots. So start with the eye, and then there's a lot going on with the gill plate here, so we'll just kind of see what looks good, I guess. I guess we'll see. I don't think any of this needs to be solid black, just the transparent black over top of it. That way the gold still shines through a little bit. Alright, we'll see if we can... I think I'm going to go just a hair darker around the eye. There we go. Alright, I'm going to do that on the other side. Alright, I think the last thing I'm going to do here on the face of the bait is I got this new stencil that I've been kind of messing with just a little bit from Barlow's Tackle. It is a Whitmore stencil. I think we're going to go right over top of some areas on the gill plate and do a little bit of it. I'm going to try to keep it pretty light. Again, not going solid black, but just going to add a little bit more texture. There we go. Kind of breaks it up a little bit more. I'm digging it. Alright, I'm going to take the same stencil. I'm going to throw it back on our helping hands for a minute here. And then we're going to go along the back of the bait with it. The best that we can here. I might end up cutting. I think what I'm going to do is cut the edge of this off here. It feels kind of wrong doing this to such a beautiful stencil. But do what you got to do for the bait, right, folks? And then I'm going to hit the side of the dorsal fin. And if anybody's interested in this stencil, this is the Crappie V2 Detail. I can have it linked in the description. Alright, I think the side of this bait needs to be broke up a little bit, so I'm going to leave it on our helping hands here. I'm just going to go in for some vertical stripes, and I'll just freehand them. I'm hopefully not going to go too dark here, just something to kind of help break up the pattern a little bit. I'm going to go for one more right there, but I'll try to keep it off the gill plate. Guys, this might turn out to be a pretty cool looking fishing lure. I'm always hesitant to try to create a pattern on video, trying out different colors combined, but this one's turning out pretty juicy. Holy smokes, folks, we may have done it. I'm kind of thinking, though, one area that's still bothering me is there's this big cutout right below the gill plate right there. So I'm thinking about adding some red in there, and then maybe we can fade that into the mouth of the bait there, because it looks kind of bland. The rest of the bait I'm pretty freaking stoked with. I think it's going to look really, really good once that clear coat goes on as well. All right, clean out the airbrush, and then I'm going to load up some, let's do... Instead of bright red, we're going to do some deep red. That way it kind of sticks with the colors we got going on here. I'm kind of wishing this bait had a little bit of blue in it. I think would look pretty juicy. I don't want any of the red up on the gill plate, so I'm going to hold, this is just a little piece of paper I cut half circle shape. I'm going to hold that in place. And then we're going to do this light. I don't want it to be solid red, kind of like everything else we've done on this one. So we're just going to try to keep it pretty thin on there. There we go. That's what I'm talking about, folks. See if we can do that on this side as well. Nice. And then I'm going to do the mouth, and then kind of have it fade to where that first hook tie is. Again, really light. Actually, I think I'm going to take it off the helping hands here. Oh, I got a little heavy there. All right, so I guess I lied a little bit. I went for solid red up on the mouth and then faded it. It almost kind of looks pink on my camera. Man, I am stoked with the way this bait looks. I've also had a rough couple days out in the shop painting. So it's like a little breakthrough when you get something that you're happy with. I got to clean out the paint real quick, and then we got to find some eyes that match this juicy paint job. Okay, the eyes that we're going to be using, I think, are going to be these guys. If the camera will focus on them. Kind of got like a little bit of orangish red hue to them. I think they should match our pattern pretty good. Or will they blend too much? I like them, but I feel like they blend a little too much. I actually kind of like the other ones better. Alright, camera battery's about to die. We're almost there. We'll dab of glue. Wowee. That looks fantastic. There we have it, folks. We've got all of our pearl satin golds. We got that little bit of iridescent green and then some of that orange. So I'm expecting all of those colors to sparkle pretty good. once that clear coat goes on. Pretty stoked with how this turned out, and the blank looks absolutely incredible. I will have this linked in the description below. The blank, they do have a couple different sizes on them, so be careful on that. If you're ordering them, make sure it's the size that you want. This one in particular is the 4.5 inch lipless. They have some bigger and some smaller. So okay, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I am going to get some clear coat put on this bad boy, and then we'll come back and take a look at what it looks like all finished up.